Inspiring interviews with today's top landlords. This is the Rental Income Podcast. And now, Dan Lane.
Scott, you live in a pretty expensive market where it's hard to make the numbers work. It's hard to find a property that's going to cash flow. How are you doing it?
Yeah, Dan, that's a great point. I mean, our average price is about $600,000. So we have to get a little bit creative. But I found in any market that if you're willing to put in the work and, again, get a little bit creative, that there are deals and there's money to be made.
It can be hard to invest in rental properties in an expensive area, but it's not impossible. And Scott has figured out some creative ways to find really good deals. And on the show today, he's going to share how he's making money in an expensive area. Joining us on the podcast today from Reno is Scott Durham. We'll take a quick break to thank our sponsors. We'll come right back and we'll talk to Scott. Are you thinking about investing in rental properties, but maybe you don't know where to start? My friends at MidSouth HomeBuyers make it simple. For over 23 years, they've been selling fully renovated turnkey rental properties in Memphis and Little Rock. We're talking new roofs, plumbing, electric, kitchens, bathrooms. Everything is brand new and done right. And here's the best part. Every property comes with a well-qualified tenant in place before you close. That means you get cash flow from day one. Plus, MidSouth continues to professionally manage the property for you after the sale, and they back it up with two powerful guarantees. You get a 1-year total maintenance warranty and a lifetime occupancy guarantee. Personally, I've bought 5 properties from them, and I couldn't be happier. If you want to talk to someone that's been through the process, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions, or if you're ready to get started, just go to MidSouthHomebuyers.com. That's MidSouthHomebuyers.com. It's a lot of work to find a really good rental property, and when you actually find that property, you want to make sure you're working with a lender that can get that loan closed. The lender that I recommend is Chaley Ridge from Ridge Lending Group. She's a nationwide lender, and her specialty is helping investors finance rental properties. She has a ton of loan programs, and she can find something customized to you for your situation. If you want to find out more or you're ready to get started today, just go to ridgelendinggroup.com. That's RIDGE lendinggroup.com, NMLS 42056. Scott, the price point in your market for a rental property that you want to buy is $600,000.
Yeah, our average price point is about $600,000. We find that our rental properties that we buy are underneath what the average is. So for an example, I've got a house that's worth about $525,000 today. We purchased it actually. I mean, that's what we specialize in, is finding deals, right? So we purchased this property for $300,000 using some of our techniques that we do to find properties. And we put about $40,000 into it. And it's worth about $525,000 today.
Wow. So the only reason that you're able to make this work is you're able to find deals way under market value. Like if you had paid $525,000 for this house, you're probably not going to be able to rent it for $5,000 a month to meet the 1% rule.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more difficult unless you get real creative with the strategies and how you're renting them out. You certainly couldn't rent it out to a long-term tenant and do that.
So how do you find someone that's willing to sell their property at such a big discount?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we find about half of our properties that we purchase on the market, believe it or not, they're right on the MLS or on Zillow. And about the other half we purchase off market, whether they're through wholesalers or we'll go do direct to seller marketing, whether it be online or other channels that we use. So we purchase properties at a discount from motivated sellers that are either on the market or off the market.
Wow. Okay. So is it just because the property is in such bad shape that it's selling for such a low price? Exactly.
And sometimes the property is in really bad shape, or other times it's just a seller. They need to sell it fast. They don't want to have to deal with real estate agents and showings. Oftentimes they'll inherit a property and just want it sold quickly, or they just don't have the funds to fix it up. So we'll walk in there and we'll see the house, and we can see past what's there right now and see what it can be. And that's where the opportunity is.
So it sounds like you're really making money in three different ways. That you're finding a good deal. So you're buying a property below market value. So you've got some equity in there, and then you're fixing it up, and that's increasing the value of the property. But then you've also got cash flow.
Yes, indeed. It's kind of the trifecta of, forced appreciation, instant equity, and then of course, cash flow.
Yeah, I think that's a winning formula. This is definitely working for you in an expensive area, but I feel like that formula would work anywhere. Like if you're buying $100,000 houses, if you can buy them cheap and then fix them up, you're still going to make money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes I wish I lived in a little bit less expensive area because, we'll hear these investors that have all these crazy amounts of properties. I'm thinking, well, as far as a number of properties go, my portfolio is pretty small, but we're able to, generate outsized returns because of the equity and because of the cash flow that we're getting. But this could work anywhere.
Right. So tell me the situation that sellers are in where, because say if I'm looking to sell a property, I could sell it at $300,000 and maybe it's in bad shape. Or if I put some money into it and fix it up, I could get 525. Why would somebody sell at such a big discount?
Well, the reality is about 95% of the population won't. And we always try to do what's best for the people that we work with. So we tell them, hey, you could absolutely get more money for this house if you were to list it on the market with a real estate agent. And that's perfectly fine. But about 5% of the people out there, they don't have the time. They don't have the money. They don't have the patience. They don't have the expertise. And really what it comes down to is that they value speed and convenience over squeezing every last dollar out of the property.
Right. Okay. So you're able to give them a quick close. And then as far as actually getting the property fixed up, how are you doing that? Are you doing the work yourself or do you have contractors?
No. Oh my goodness. I am inept. I can't do anything when it comes to construction. So I've been blessed. I've got a great crew of people that I've been working with for a number of years. We've got subcontractors, we've got handyman, electricians, plumbers, painters, everything. And we put the project plan together and then just let them run with it.
How did you initially find your crew?
The handyman that I have, I actually met him through my church. So it was just a personal connection. So he's got a great business. I could rely on him. He's trustworthy. As far as the electrician and the plumber, I'm also a real estate agent. So I'm plugged into a network of about 200 agents at my company here. And we all kind of share the referrals of the contractors that we get. So I think for anybody that's in this business, it's really important to have that network, and a good real estate agent can be an incredible source of opportunities for referrals for contractors.
Yeah. So is that helping you find deals, being that you're an agent and you're in the MLS all the time and you're talking to sellers? Is that helping you find deals?
Absolutely. That's how I got started. That's because I kept once or twice a year, I just come across a deal that was just like, wow, this is too good to be true. I should be buying this. And I passed up on a couple of them and I just took a commission. I said, hey, this is really kind of silly. Why aren't I purchasing these rather than just making a commission and helping the client just the same? So if someone is actively paying attention on a consistent basis, whether you're a real estate agent or not, and I don't care what market you are in, there are absolutely deals that will come across your desk.
When you talk to a seller, then are you saying to them, all right, look, I can list the house for you at this price, or if you want a quick and easy sale, I can buy it for you at this lower price?
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. It's transparency, right?
Yeah.
So we don't try to manipulate them or try to convince them to go one way or another. We present both options and then they decide. But because of the marketing that we do, most people are going to want the cash offer if it's at a price that they can stomach.
Right. And then how are you finding these sellers?
Yeah. So, like I said, so we have a lot of times they're listed on the market. So if you see a house that's on the MLS and we do specific keyword search, and anyone can do this, whether it be on Zillow, they can put in keywords so that anytime a listing pops up that has a specific keyword in the description, that they'll get immediately notified. So that could be handyman, TLC, needs work, fixer upper. So that's one way. And if you act quickly and you can be one of the first people to jump on those deals, there's a lot of opportunity there.
Right.
Another way that we do is there's wholesalers that we purchase from. These are the guys that go and to the sellers directly, and they'll negotiate them. So they're not on the market, but we've built up relationships with them. Well, they'll tie it up at a certain price. They'll mark it up where it's still at a good discount at a good price for us. And they do all the heavy lifting as far as dealing with the sellers. The third way that we do it is going off market, and I have had the most success doing online marketing. You can do Google pay-per-click searches where someone will type in, "Hey, I need to sell my house fast," and then our website will show up before the rest. And then you make immediate contact with them, and the conversion rate on those leads is just incredible. It's better than any lead source I've ever dealt with in my career.
Do you come across deals sometimes that maybe don't necessarily make sense as a property you want to keep, but maybe you can fix it up and flip it yourself? Like, do you ever do flips yourself?
Oh, absolutely. We do about 10 to 12 flips a year.
Okay.
So that's really how we raise the cash to buy the rentals for the passive income. So we're generating the money and the income as a business on the flipping side, and then finding long-term investments to put that money to work.
Now, as far as actually renting out the property, because you're at such a high price point, are you able to make the numbers work on a traditional rental, like a long-term tenant, or are you doing midterm or Airbnb? Like, how are you actually generating revenue?
Yeah, out here on the West Coast, just about anywhere, you cannot get a 1% rule to work unless you got like the deal of the century. So what we do is the properties that we hold on to are in strategic locations where they work really, really well on Airbnb or on a short-term rental.
All right, well, let's take a look at one of your deals and kind of break down the numbers a little bit. So the property we're going to be talking about, did you find this on the MLS, or was this a direct to seller deal?
I'm so proud of this deal. I found it right on the MLS. I didn't have to spend any money on marketing to get it. It was just right on the MLS or Zillow for anyone to grab. Was
it competitive? Like where, when there's a deal on the MLS, there's so many investors and just regular home buyers that want to buy the deal. Was it competitive?
On this one, it really wasn't. I was able to get it for well below what the asking price was. And I find that oftentimes, many deals that I am definitely in a competitive market. However, even in a competitive market, there will be deals that pop up that just for whatever reason fly under the radar. And if you're consistent with it, not just do it once a month, but if you're consistent with it every day and follow up with these deals that come up, you will absolutely find deals.
Awesome. All right. So what was the property listed for?
So the property was listed for about $350,000.
Okay. And then what did you end up buying it for?
I bought it for $300,000 even.
Wow.
And because I'm an agent, I got a commission on it. So it was, $290,000.
Yeah. And then like, how does that work? Like, was the property sitting there for a really long time to be able to get that big of a discount?
Yes, it was sitting there for a little bit, and it was actually getting towards the end of the year. So the snow was on the ground, and the sellers come to find out really wanted to be done and have the property sold before the end of the year for tax purposes.
Okay.
So we kind of got lucky from that standpoint. And I think if they were willing to wait on the market longer, they could have got more money.
Right.
But this was a deal, and they just wanted the sure thing that it was going to close. And rather than wait around for some more money, they just wanted it to be done.
Right. Okay. And then what work needed to be done to the property?
So it looked like a grandma house, and it kind of smelled like one too, with maybe a little bit of a cat smell in there also. But I always say that cat smell is the smell of opportunity. That's what we want to see. So we did new flooring. We painted it on the inside and the outside. We refreshed the kitchen. We refreshed the bathrooms. We did a little bit of work to the roof, had some landscaping work to be done. But this is actually a pretty crazy story because we wanted to be able, we bought this right at the end of the year. It was actually towards late December when we closed. It was around December 21st or so. And we really wanted to be able to utilize bonus depreciation on this property for this year. So we actually got the rehab done in 9 days and had it rent ready before the before the end of the year. So we were super proud and grateful for our crew to be able to get the rehab done in such a short amount of time because that is not the norm.
Right. How much did it cost to fix the property up?
Rehab cost itself was about $41,000.
Okay. And then you said this is an Airbnb. So how much did you spend to furnish the property and get it ready to be rented?
Yeah, we spent about $10,000 on furniture and TVs and sheets and everything to get it nice and ready for guests.
All right. So you're all in with the purchase price, the rehab, furnishing the property, $351.
Yep, exactly.
And you said it was worth $525 when it was fixed
It's worth $525, yes.
Wow. All right. So then how did you actually purchase the property? Like, did you finance it? Did cash, line of credit? Like, what did you do?
On this one in particular, we paid cash for it.
Okay. And then did you refinance it once it was fixed up?
After it was fixed up, yes, we refinanced it. We actually were able to pull out because we had so much equity in there. We were able to pull out the entire $300,000 that we had put in to purchase the home.
Okay. So then you're just out the rehab money and the furnishing costs, but you got all your money back to buy the property.
To buy the house. So we're only in the house, $40,000 or $50,000 now.
That's great. So then, I guess looking at it now, you've got your $300,000 back. You can do this again.
Exactly. That's the idea. And we have.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So then you put a 30-year loan on the property, I assume, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then what is your mortgage payment now? Like taxes and insurance all in?
Yeah. It's $1,896 per month.
And then how much, like say on an average month, I'm sure the Airbnb revenue probably varies a little bit month to month, right?
It does vary month to month. We tend to do a little bit better in the summertime, and it's just going to depend on what market people are in. It'll be different for everybody, but on average, it's pretty good. So last year we did about $59,000 in gross revenue on this property.
Wow. Okay. So the mortgage is $1,896, and then what about expenses, utilities, repairs? Right. Anything else that might come up? How much do you spend on say a typical month?
Yeah, I pulled up the QuickBooks this morning. On average, last year it was about $1,358 per month expenses.
So then, over the year, how much did this property make you?
Yeah, after the mortgage was paid off and all the expenses, it makes $17,592 last year.
Wow! I mean, and that is really incredible when you look at your cash on cash return that you invested $50,000 in this property and you're getting that back in like 2 years.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. And that's why, we've done it a couple more times now and it continues working like this. I mean, there's no reason to not just keep going this. And that way we don't need to have, 1,000 properties to pay our living expenses.
Well, yeah.
We can do it with a relatively small number of homes.
Yeah, I mean, you figure if each property is making you $20,000 a year, like you really don't need that many to cover all your expenses. So, talk to me about management. Does it take a lot of time to manage the Airbnbs?
Honestly, no, that was one of the biggest things I was worried about when I got started because I'm busy. I mean, we're flipping homes. We got a real estate business. So I don't want to be spending a bunch of time taking out the trash of these properties. So we've actually got it figured out a way that, 99% of the time, I'd say I spend less than an hour a week managing these properties. Wow. We've got a good cleaner. We've got a good handyman. We've got systems in place that automate the messaging when it's time that notifies the cleaners when they have to go and clean the homes. We've got pricing software that changes the pricing of the daily rates based on what the market demand is. So a lot of it's pretty pretty well automated,
Yeah.
and it's pretty low key. We have keyless entry systems where the system generates a code for each guest, so we don't have to go meet them and let them in the property. It's all electronic. So most of the time it's pretty darn simple.
Yeah. Is there one software program you use that does the pricing and helps you manage your team members? What is that? What software?
Yeah, so the software used for the pricing is called Price Labs, and it's pretty well known within the industry, and it's great. You go in there, and I actually improved on these numbers a little bit because I recently went in there and had a support call with one of the people there, and they said, hey, if you change this and you change that, it may improve the booking. So we're thinking that this year's numbers may be even better than last year because we went in there and messed around with the settings a little bit. But Price Labs is the company that we've been working with on that.
Now, what about furnishing the property? Because I feel like I wouldn't do a good job of picking out the furniture. And
Neither would I.
So how do you do that?
Yeah, so we have a stager that we work with, a home stager that works with us when we sell listings or when we'll sell our flips, and we just basically hire her, and she buys all the furniture. She's able to get discounts on Wayfair and Amazon and secondhand stores, and these places look really nice. And I think that's a key differentiator because there's a lot of Airbnbs out there, so you got to do something that's going to make your property stand out. And having someone with that eye and that expertise to furnish it and make it look like a modern home versus just any old place makes all the difference.
Right. Now, one thing that always scares me a little bit with Airbnb is just legislation changing that maybe a community outlaws Airbnb. What would you do if all of a sudden you couldn't do short-term rentals?
Yeah, that's a great question. So these properties happen to be close to a major university here locally. So we would probably do a rent by the room or some sort of a midterm rental, or worst case scenario, it's in a neighborhood that always has rented out extremely well. So even if we weren't making the cash flow that we are able to now, we would be able to cover our monthly payments and maintain the properties.
As Scott mentioned earlier, he is a realtor in the Reno area. If anyone is interested in investing in that area, or you want to connect with Scott, he'd be happy to talk to you about Airbnbs. I've got his contact information on the website. You can find it at rentalincomepodcast.com/episode 532. I'd like to thank Chaley Ridge from Ridge Lending Group for sponsoring today's episode. If you're looking to buy a rental property, whether you're just getting started or you want to add to your portfolio, definitely reach out to Chaley. You can track her down at ridgelendinggroup.com, NMLS 42056. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. Make sure you hit that follow button. I put out a new episode every single Tuesday, and if you're following the show, you'll get notified when the next episode comes out. My name is Dan Lane, and this has been the Rental Income Podcast.